So we're here and we're doing a demonstration of how to plant a tree or shrub. We have a 2-gallon pot here of a native hawthorn. And what I've done so far is scraped the top layer of mulch off here until I hit the surface of the soil. We want our hole to be about 1.5 times as deep and wide as the pot. So that'll take me a minute. Alright, I think I'm pretty close here. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and just test that out. Just stick the pot in there. And that's just about right. Hole is, roughly 1.5 to 2 times as wide as that pot. I could go a little bit deeper, but given the size of this tree, I think this is good enough. So what I'm going to do is prepare the hole for the tree. I'm going to, with my hands, sort of take the soil that is down in there and form just a small little mound at the bottom. And I'm going to try and loosen the soil up here and train the roots down so that they're spreading out to the sides of the hole. So get the pot out, just gently sort of massage this here, and it should come out real easy like. And there are a lot of different theories about how best to plant a pot. Some will just put this right in the ground. I subscribe, especially with a pot like this where you can see the roots, it's been in the pot for a while, they're really thick. I'm going to want to loosen that edge up a little bit. Not tearing the roots, but just breaking the soil up and loosening it up so that you get a little bit more diversity in how those roots are going. Because otherwise, it's been in that pot so long that the roots are just going to go around and around in circles rather than spreading out and getting really well established in the ground. So here, you can see there's some that have circled, but I'm able to get them loosened up. There we go. So that's pretty good. And then what I'm going to do here is get the middle part of this, spread those roots out, get the middle part on the top of that mound in there, and then spread those roots around as best as I can, so they're not just going all in the same direction or doing the same thing, just going around and around. What else? The other thing that you want to be really careful about with the roots is you want to avoid having them come back up the side like this so that their roots are going like this. That's called J-rooting a plant, and that can confuse it and stunt its growth. And in some cases, especially when they're younger, it can actually kill the plant. So this is about right. You want to look really carefully with any tree or shrub that you're planting. This is called the root collar, right at the spot where the stem meets the roots. And this is an important part of the plant where there's oxygen and other gas exchange. So you don't want this to be buried too deeply or exposed up too high. If it's too deep, it'll suffocate and rot. If it's up too high in the summer, it can dry out and the plant can die. So it's not too hard to keep track of that, but if you're not sure when you're taking it out of the pot, you can just hold it right there, and that gives you a sense of where it's supposed to be. So you want that to match up right with the ground level. So the roots are pretty well spread out. It's basically ready to go. I'm going to gently start filling in the sides of the hole with the nice loose soil from the hole, not the soil from the pot. And I'm not going to pack it in at this point. I'm going to take that plant, got a little bit in here, I'm going to shake it gently, and that helps that loose soil settle in around the roots. And then as I go, I can compress it a little bit, but the goal is to get the tree roots snug but not compacted. So I'll just keep going with that. Fill in as I go along, loosen that up. Again, shake that in so that the soil settles in around it instead of pushing down on the surface. Put your fingers down in and push in from the sides, and that can help really firm that up, but without totally compressing the soil. And then at this point, I've used most of the soil from that hole. I still have the soil I shook off from the pot. You spread that around at the top. You take a look here, you can see there's that root crown, and it's pretty much right at the level where the soil ends, and it gets back up with the mulch around it. I'm just going to replace the mulch right around it. Mulch is fabulous for regulating temperature and moisture throughout the year around a tree or shrub. It kind of acts like a sponge, absorbs moisture when it's wet and slowly releases it throughout the year. Helps keep the soil both moist and not overheated. The flip side of that is it will also moderate cold temperatures in the winter and help prevent damage from frost. So this, I think, is pretty well done at this point. You can do a quick tug test to make sure it's snug. And I'm pulling fairly firmly. That's in there pretty good. But the soil itself is also loose. It's not totally compact. So that's a pretty well planted tree.